Welcome to SWSi Floristry. This is a demonstration video of an informal shower bouquet using fine wiring techniques. I've cut and wired the flowers that will be used in this bouquet. I've done a hook method around the dendrobium orchids where the natural stem is left exposed and the wire is hooked around the stem. It's quite important when we do this shower bouquet that we grade all our material. So you'll see me use the full length dendrobium orchid, a medium length where I've graded it down, and then a small length that grades down further. And this will be the way that we'll grade all the material that we put into the bouquet. What I'm going to start off is make a platform to put rest of the bouquet stems on. I've got some wired ivy leaves which I'm placing back to back together, and then I'm going to place 3 leaves the other side so that the face of the leaf is facing inwards. What I'm going to do then is gather them together, and with the parafilm tape I'm going to bind all the wires together. Because of the nature of the shower bouquet, we don't need the base platform to be very wide, so I'm going to take the parafilm right up to the top of the stems, but ensure that none of the material is caught into the stem. We need to maintain a nice neat junction. Then I'm going to bend the ivy leaves out into an umbrella shape to give me a basis to work my shower bouquet onto. You'll notice that this base is quite small, and I'll need to be careful when I insert the spokes, the wires through the spokes, because they're quite tight in this particular design. What I'm going to do as well is make sure that my handle remains at 90 degrees to the platform for this particular bouquet. Then I'm going to start to place my flowers down through into the bouquet. I'm going to rest the stems of the orchids onto the platform of ivy leaves, and I'm going to make sure that I'm crossing the stems, the ends of the stems of the orchids, but I'm not crossing the wire through the different parts of the spokes. When I want to put a stem down into the junction point, I make sure that everything is straight down through the spokes of the wire. By leaving the natural stem on the orchid, I'm also helping with the actual balance of the bouquet. A shower bouquet is held to be cascading down from the hand, but we're making this one on the flat base to help with the balance of the flowers. I've placed all my long graded orchids into the bouquet. The other thing with a shower bouquet is it's a building of layers of material. I now have some of the dodder vine that has been wired, and I'm going to introduce some of the pieces of that into the bouquet as we build it up. It's very important to keep the layers of materials going into the bouquet to have the proper profile and depth within the shower bouquet. So I'm then just going to manipulate the dodder vine through the orchids to make sure that all the vine is hanging nicely. So we're starting to get a cascade or shower effect. I'm also going to add in some decorative items because this is an informal bouquet. So the use of enhancement or decorative items within this bouquet will help to give its informal nature. These are beads that have been wound together to form a trail or cascade, which again will strengthen and give more line to the bouquet as it's viewed from the front. These have been wired on a 22 gauge wire, and again I'm inserting all these wires down through the original spokes that I made in the ivy leaf to give a continual flow to the bouquet. If we need to make sure that the lines of the pearls are going in the direction that we want, we can always manipulate them around the stems of the flowers. I'm also going to add some liriope grass into the design at this point to keep building those layers of flowers up through the design. Remember that we're keeping our handle 90 degrees at this point, so all the wires are inserted through the spokes of the leaves and then to the correct height that is optimum, and then we can bend the wire down, making sure that our handle remains straight at all times. We want to grade the materials within this arrangement in length as well, so you can see that I've put the longest orchids in first and also the grass over them. Now we can start to build the layers further up with some more of the flowers. So now I'm moving on to the medium cut of orchids. So I'm going to start placing these into the bouquet, still with my stem wires straight down through the spokes of the bouquet to make sure that they rest and start to enhance that cascade or shower form. I'm going to continue by putting some more of the medium length orchids in the top to help build the profile up as well, because we want to make sure that over the hand where we hold the bouquet comes up to the highest point. Whenever I put some material in, I'm going to add some more fine material into the bouquet over it. So we build up those levels and layers within the shower bouquet to give it its transparent and flowing nature. These are more pieces of the dodder vine that have been wired that I'm putting in over the second level of the medium orchids. So I'm continuing to place the vine through again to build up those levels and to give that cascading look to the bouquet. I'm now going to add in some more of the pearl decorations. Again, the first pearl decorations that were put in were longer, and now these ones that are going up on the medium orchids are of a medium length as well, so that we're grading everything up towards the 2/3 of the bouquet. I'm going to place some more of the grass into the bouquet at this point, and these particular ones have been looped around from the end as well to create a different form and to start to bring the eye to the center point, which in this particular cascade bouquet is 2/3 along the bouquet. We want the trail to be 2/3, and then we work up to our center point of the bouquet within this particular one is at 2/3, and then we will work on a return to help make our balance, our actual balance for the person to carry the bouquet. What I've also wired is some chain wires of hyacinth flowers, which are wired along a 22 gauge wire, and they're going to again enhance the cascade nature of the shower bouquet. The shower bouquet has no particular end point, but rather various end points, and that will give it the shower nature in line that we're looking for. I'm inserting the wires down through the spikes of the central junction just to make sure that everything is nice and tight in the bouquet, and to have the hyacinth starting to come from that 2/3 point. So that is going to be our focus of our bouquet. That's where we want the hyacinth to originate from. So that's going to be the focal point of our bouquet. I've also looped some hyacinth chains over, again to give a little bit of a definite form, also as a repetition on the treatment of the lirirope leaf, and they're going to form a crown or a definite nose to the bouquet. In our shower bouquet, we also need to consider that we need an area of dominance up at the 2/3 point in the bouquet to make sure that the length of the bouquet is in balance. I've parafilmed down the wires to form a handle, and now what I'm going to do is place some of the ivy leaves on the back of the bouquet just to hide any of the mechanics that might be showing or the spokes of wires. Remember, our ivy leaf is support wired, so I can return them around the other direction, and then I can hide all my mechanics up into the bouquet. Then what I'm going to do is also place some organza ribbons around the very top of the junction point. This also gives the bride or bridesmaid a very nice soft element to hold onto, so there's no wires or heavy items for her to be holding. What I'm then going to do, making sure with my parafilm is nice and high right up at the junction point, I'm going to wrap it around. For the particular shower bouquet, we wrap the parafilm around the handle. We don't twist the handle around because of the nature of the flow of the material. We don't want to twist the flowers around and perhaps damage or break any of the long flowers and orchids that are hot out the base. I'm going to separate a couple of the wires from the handle of the bouquet, remembering that we normally allow 4 fingers plus a couple of extra for the length of our handle, and then I'm going to cut the wires away, the excess wire away from the handle. Then what I'm also going to do is make sure that I bring some of the parafilm tape down over all the exposed ends of the wire to just ensure that there's no sharps exposed. Then I'm going to bend the 2 remaining wires down at the base. I'm then going to get some of the organza ribbon and put it up on the handle and loosely wind it down right over the exposed wires. Once it's over the ends of the exposed wires, I'm then going to turn the wires back up and trim off the excess from the wire. Then I'm going to wind upways along the handle, making sure that all the parafilm is concealed because it's a mechanics and we don't want the mechanics to be exposed. Also making sure that the ribbon is untwisted and nice and flat. And I'm going to bring it right up to the junction point, right up under the organza ribbons that were placed at the top. Then I'm going to allow some excess ribbon to go around. I'm going to put that ribbon around the handle to form a slip knot. So around the handle, slip it around, pull it up firmly, and that will hold the ribbon onto the handle. I'm then going to trim the excess from the ribbon to bring it back, and so there we have the finish of our informal shower bouquet. Our informal shower bouquet needs to have lots of different levels within the materials, so the gradual addition of all the fine materials will give the side profile that we want. All the wire spokes are hidden, so there's no mechanics showing. We want our shower bouquet to be 2/3 in its trail and 1/3 in its focal area at the top of the bouquet, and a shower bouquet will be held by the bride either on a side profile or a frontal profile to give the shower and cascade effect that the informal shower bouquet using fine wiring techniques should have.